I just got done watching the reboot show, and what I was going to do was actually talk about both shows in the same video and kind of give the reviews on the original and the reboot. I figured that video was going to be too long, about 30, 35 minutes, so I decided to just cut it and just do like, you know what, let me just do each show, separately. I'll talk about the original in this one, and I'll do the reboot show in another video. Both shows have great similarities, but then there's also great differences between the shows, and we're going to get into that soon. Now, with this original show, which, by the way, is available to watch on Netflix and Paramount Plus, I probably would rather watch it on Paramount because that's where all the seasons are at. Netflix only has 3 of the seasons. I don't really know why Netflix tends to do that, especially with Teen Nick and Nickelodeon shows. They've done that with some other shows, but I mean, when you look at, Drake and Josh or Zoe 101 or Nestle Classified, or there's only certain episodes and certain seasons on there. I don't know why they did that, but it's whatever, it is what it is. Now, let's talk a little bit about the original show. And this right here is the Google synopsis. Carly Shay finds her previously normal life turned upside down when her internet show iCarly becomes an instant smash with young web heads. With her parents traveling abroad, Carly must rely on the help of friends Sam and Freddie and her quirky older brother Spencer to cope with the newfound success. The show was created by Dan Schneider. The show ran from 2007 to 2012. Wikipedia is saying it has 6 seasons, but a lot of other sources it's 5 seasons. I don't know if they took one of the seasons and cut it in half. There's a complicated discrepancy going on right there, and I don't really know because I wasn't watching the show at the time it came on television. So I remember when it first became a show, it was a spinoff from Drake and Josh, which was my favorite Teen Nick show. And I watched some of the first season at the time, but then I fell off it for a bit. I don't remember the reason why. Maybe because I didn't have cable at the time, or I just kind of grew out of Teen Nick at the time or whatnot. But I'll still watch Teen Nick, and I know a lot of my fellow 90s kids do as well. So it's whatever. I'll talk about it because I liked it and I enjoyed it. So let's look at the ratings on the show, and then I'm going to get to how Common Sense Media breaks it down. So Common Sense Media gave it a 60%, Internet Movie Database gave it a 68%, and Google users gave it a 94%. That's pretty good for them. I can't find anything right now from Rotten Tomatoes. I'm a little bit surprised at that. Now, let's get to Common Sense Media. And here's how they broke it down. And by the way, you have Miranda Cosgrove as Carly. You have Jennette McCurdy as Sam. Nathan Kress as Freddie. Jerry Trainor as Spencer. Noah Munck as Gibby. Mary Shear, I think is her name, that plays Freddie's mother. I think her name is Marissa Benson. Now, Common Sense Media says how much of educational value is in the show. The show isn't designed to be educational per se, but young viewers will learn a bit about interacting with media. As far as positive messages, you have, while friendship is very important on the show and the characters typically learn a lesson from any iffy behavior, not every takeaway is positive. Sometimes the characters make questionable choices that would have negative consequences in real life, but are played for laughs in the show. Positive role models. Carly is a strong, independent female character, but the characters do dabble in some negative behavior like making fun of peers, a form of bullying, and lying for personal gain. They've also been known to give out personal information on the web and air their personal grievances against others on their web show, aka cyberbullying. We've seen that a little bit. The only authority figure is Carly's 20-something brother, who's the least responsible of the bunch. Parents need to know that this is a semi-interactive tween comedy, integrates with its partner website, iCarly.com. And the show's format encourages kids' interest in checking out and contributing on the site. In other words, if your computer savvy kids are fans, this is the perfect time to reiterate your family rules about internet use and safety. Okay. This person right here said that the show had casual racism and profiling. I don't understand that. That's not from this show. That didn't happen here. How Common Sense Media breaks down the story. The show centers on Carly Shay, an opinionated young teen who lives with her artsy 20-something brother, Spencer. While their father is abroad with the military, Carly stumbles into internet fame when a video of her and her sassy best friend, Sam, gossiping about their peers is accidentally posted online and accessed by thousands of fans who demand more of the hilarity. From off-the-wall stunts to their personal musings about teen life, Carly, Sam, and their friend producer, Freddie, are never lacking inspiration for their show. Is it any good? This show gives tweens the opportunity to step outside reality and live vicariously through the colorful characters' lives. Few rules exist for Carly and her friends, due mostly to the absence of a credible authority figure, and they've achieved stardom by taking their personal views to the uncensored airwaves. In other words, theirs isn't a lifestyle easily emulated by viewers, but the fact that the show makes it so appealing is a good reason for parents to do a reality check, reminding kids of the dangers of cyberbullying in particular. That's not to say that the show is all bad. Much of it is laugh out loud funny. It boasts a colorful cast of characters thanks to a very talented cast. They very much are, and it reflects the technological nature of modern social interactions. Tweens will relate to the characters and their realistic issues with friends, family, and school, and parents will be relieved to know that there's little content that's worrisome of their kids. Parents can talk about the internet. Families can talk about the internet. What kinds of things can you see online? Is it good or bad to be able to access so much information and content? How does the web affect your relationship with other people? What are some of the dangers associated with internet use? Has anyone you know ever been bullied or otherwise mistreated online? How? What did they do? The best way I can answer that is, and this might be a little difficult to bring up, and I'll tell you right now, some of it I might be missing because this occurred so long ago. I want to say this was somewhere between the years of 2007, 2010. Somebody did end up, taking themselves because of, and by the way, that's not to say this show promotes that, so don't get this twisted. For parents who are watching this and they question if this is something that their kids can watch, it's fine. Somebody who took their life because they were being bullied. I don't know if all of it was internet or if it was in person. I didn't know the girl personally, but I know some people who did know her personally. And I think that's the negative side of the internet is, yeah, you're going to have idiots and trolls and whatnot. That's people that's going to just take you down no matter what or try to bring you down. The positive side is we have this thing called a power button, which you can use and turn it off, cut the computer off, close the tab, get off the social media, whatnot. Remind your kids that they should never say anything online that they wouldn't say to someone's face, and make sure tweens understand your rules about using your internet, especially regarding uploading videos and providing personal information to any website. For more internet safety, click here. Now, what does Google have to say about this? As far as the Google reviews, this show is a very weird but very funny and creative show. It has many memorable characters with fun personalities like Carly, who, if it weren't for her Sam, Freddie and Gibby wouldn't get along due to that Carly has tried to be the peacemaker in their feuds. That's true. Then there's Sam, who can be a very funny character, but her insults towards Freddie get old at the time season 1 finishes, and her aggressiveness can make her unbearable, who she rarely uses it at the right times, and she can be quite selfish at times. Then there's Freddie, who's probably the one or more underrated characters, and you have to give him a lot of credit, because without him, iCarly would not have been anything, since he is smarter and more creative than most people his age. Then there's Gibby, who's very weird and apparently stupid, as has been shown before. Before season 4, Gibby was a recurring character who would take off his shirt consistently for no reason. It would just show that he was fat, but still had a big role in some episodes and did very well with the episodes. So Gibby became a main character where he no longer have to take off his shirt, but still weird and still had the same stupid moments that he had before. Still a good character. And last but not least, one of the main characters is Spencer. Spencer is shown to be childish and immature, but a very funny and very creative character. Out of all the characters, he was my favorite. And then you have memorable villains like Neville Pepperman and Nora Durslett, and had memorable recurring characters such as Principal Franklin. Overall, the earlier seasons to me were better due to the characters besides Gibby were better at the time. Let me rank the seasons. This person rated the 6 seasons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He gave this stuff out of 100, 88, 85, 82, 78, 65, 72. Now, overall, me personally, I would give the show, and yeah, by Neville Pepperman and Nora Durslett, I mean, those were complete nut jobs, but for totally different reasons. Nora Durslett was somebody who locked them in a basement because she was an obsessed fan, and she had a crush on Freddie and just all that stuff. And Neville Pepperman was basically like in a way, he was kind of like a Bart Simpson, where he just was all about pranks and just making people he was a prankster and just making people suffer in minor ways, and he was just completely immature, and he just did things for his own personal gain. Other people suffering or feeling uncomfortable pretty much made him happy. I mean, that's really all that was with that character. This show was a hit. It is a must-watch show if you love real-life comedy. Classic Nickelodeon show with many laughs. And I have to say, yeah, after watching as much of it at this point, yeah, I have to say it is one of my favorite Teen Nick shows. Now let's get to some of the negative reviews. I'm pretty sure we're going to come across some stuff here where people are either overthinking it or it doesn't make too much sense or it's whatever. If you were expecting an iCarly hate review, you guessed wrong. I'm here because you one-star people have no taste in OG Nickelodeon shows. Go back to watching Teen Titans Go. Anyway, if you stayed to read this, then good. When the show came out, I couldn't remember a single thing about this show since I was a toddler. I'm not 100% sure why my parents allowed me, but whatever. Well, first of all, how do you know your parents allowed you versus you might have just watched the show. Your parents may not even known about it. This show came out 2007 to 2012, so I mean, there's a lot of shows that we watched. It wasn't just because, our parents let us watch it. There was too much stuff to watch on television. There was too much stuff for parents to monitor. So, again, I'm not really sure what that has to do with much. And if you didn't like it, then just don't watch it. But when I revisited the show this month, I remembered watching it before. I had a wave load of nostalgia hit me watching it, and I laughed and cherished each episode, and I enjoyed when I heard of the news from some of the iCarly cast during the 2021 KC Awards. I was happy to hear that the show is either coming back or it's going to be a reboot. Either way, I'm glad to say that the show was 100% one of the top tier shows of Nickelodeon. Well, if that's the case, why'd you give it a 1 star? That's a little bit misleading. Okay. That person says it's going to be too long right there. I don't want to waste everybody's time with that. I have tried to leave this review many times, but it seems it keeps getting deleted midway due to any protected that pops up. First, why is this show on the air? It is insidiously funny, but it blatantly encourages disrespectful depictions of teachers and students. No, it doesn't. This is simply not true in many cases. It encourages bullying between students. No, it doesn't. It encourages misogynistic and racial-oriented stereotypes. No, it doesn't. So why is this program good? Because it was funny. I have stopped my son from watching until further notice. DYI, I grew up in, or maybe that meant to say FYI. I'm just guessing. I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and those shows this seem tame to the insidious messages on this current one. By the way, I need a proper tally. Okay, not sure. I didn't really get that. I love this show so much. I can't wait for the reboot of all the characters. If you love comedy, then come to this show. It's awesome. Also, I've wondered how Spencer said all the things he touched went on fire. Like, why? So, yeah, guys, this is an awesome show. Not sure why you gave it a 1-star review. So, all the 90s kids who grew up with this stuff, I mean, you grew up with Drake and Josh. You grew up with The Amanda Show. You grew up with Nes Declassified, Unfabulous, Zoe 101, Victorious, Sam and Cat. You know, any show that's like that. You grew up on this, all that, Romeo Show. I mean, I think that it definitely was a hit. And I'm glad to see that. And Common Sense Media and Internet Movie Database, they only gave it 60 to 68. I think that's incredibly low. They should have gave it at least 80 to 88. But people on Google did their part, gave it up to 94. So I wanted to kind of cover this right quick, just for that purpose. And just because I'm getting ready to do the review of the reboot show. And I think there's a little bit more to uncover there because it is a little bit different than this original. We are missing a couple characters out of that. We still have a lot of the original ones, but there's some wild stuff to cover in the next one. So, again, I know most of the people in my age group and around, you've already watched this show. If you want to relive the moments, then, again, there's Netflix and Paramount Plus. It's right on there. And I'm getting ready to cover this reboot. So, like and subscribe. I got more to cover.